Again, my name is Father Jack Schuler, and I'm the Director of Mission Integration for Catholic Charities in St. Louis. And part of my job description is to go out and preach at various parishes so that people might have a better understanding of what the Catholic Church in St. Louis is doing. When I had talked to Father Gary, I asked him if I could bring someone with me, someone who comes here to worship. Laura Pennington, she's the Executive Director of one of the agencies for Catholic Charities. And Laura's young, intelligent, vibrant, passion for the mission. When I asked Gary if I could bring her and she could say a few words, he said, "Why don't you let her do the whole thing because she's prettier than you." I have good news and I have better news. The good news is Catholic Charities. The better news is I'm not asking for money. The gospel today made me think of something. There's an old story about a couple of men were talking, and the one decided to test his friend, and he said, if I give you $1 million, would you cheat on your wife? No one would ever find out. No one would know. You'd go and confess it, get to about $1 million. Guy didn't think long. He said, if nobody finds out, yeah. He said, what about 500,000? Didn't think too much there either. Said nobody would find out? No. So what about $5? He said, what do you take me for? He said, we already know what you are. We're just quibbling over the price. You see, because I think everybody has a price. That we're sinners. And that means we say these things about, I love God, I love my neighbor, but there's places we won't go, people we won't see, things we won't say. And the gospel today says that we're like seeds, and God wants to throw us out. But I think sometimes we say, don't throw me over there. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to talk to those people. They don't like me. I don't want to go there. It's dangerous. We have a price. And so I'm hoping that what I have to say about Catholic Charities inspires you and lets you know that the Catholic Church is trying to get to a lot of those places that some people don't want to go, and tries to do a lot of things that some people don't want to do, and say things that some people don't want to say. I think in your pews there was these little bookmarks. If I could ask you to take a look at that. Catholic Charities in St. Louis is unique in the United States because it's a federation, and there's 8 different agencies, and the budget is over $80 million, and only about 1.2% of that comes from the Archdiocese. We raise the rest. We raise it for those on the margins of society. If you see on this card, and these statistics go back to 2013, 2014 is just coming up now, the statistics. But then we served 147,000, you see there, and 50 different places, 100 different programs. We're in all 11 counties. 2013, we had 26,000 calls to our housing hotline. We couldn't help some of those folks. They called too late, or we didn't have the resources. But we're listening and trying to see what they can do. We served 104,000 meals. If you turn over on the other side, it's a list of the agencies. And people don't realize that these agencies, in many cases, are Catholic Charities. Like if you go to the bottom, the most familiar agency is St. Patrick's. But a lot of people don't know that that's Catholic Charities. It's not just St. Patrick's out on its own. It's St. Patrick's Catholic Charities. And as I'm sure you know, they do unbelievable work for the homeless. They're nationally known. They go before Congress to talk about their programs because they work. They're wraparound services. And so we don't just give them a bed and a shower, but wraparound services so that they can get out on their own, whatever they need, so they don't come back. The next one up on there is St. Martha's Hall from the bottom. St. Martha's Hall is the agency that works with domestic violence. For those who face battering, killing by a spouse or a boyfriend. It's at an undisclosed location because if the boyfriend or the husband would find out, they would be in harm's way, which means that our staff is in harm's way also. The stories there are somewhat unbelievable, and domestic violence goes across the gamut of society. I have a cousin who's an executive financial firm, St. Louis, and she had to flee her home because of what her husband was going to do to her and the children. It doesn't just happen to the poor. And St. Martha's Hall is there for all. Mary Grove is my favorite. Mary Grove is a residential treatment center for youth who've been abused sexually or physically, or they have emotional difficulties that do not allow them to be in their homes at this time. Some of them are wards of the state. They'll never go back to their homes because of what their parents did to them. Some of them have very good parents, excellent parents, but they just can't work it out at home at this time. There's too much violence or too much depression. And so Mary Grove is a residential treatment center, and they get those services all day long, 24 hours. Most of them go out to the local school district for their classes, and then they get the help they need and the support they need in order to hopefully get back into society. Sometimes it's difficult when they're older. Not a lot of families want to adopt teenage foster children. I have a favorite there, Daniel. I go there twice a month to celebrate Mass on Saturdays. And I also have baptized and confirmed a number of them, First Communion. And Daniel was when he was a great big teenager, real gentleman, and baptized him, confirmed him, First Communion. We were walking down the aisle. People are still singing. Get to the end of the aisle. He turns around, looks at me, and he goes, "Father, I feel so powerful." And he grabbed me. And I said, "Daniel, you got tears in your eyes." And he said, "I see some in yours too." That makes my life completely full when I see someone so excited about their baptism and they face so much challenge. Good Shepherd, Children and Family Services. Just before Mass, I was talking to someone who said, Catholic Charities helped me to be adopted. This is the adoption agency, Good Shepherd. It's also the agency that places people in foster homes. You can't just become a foster parent. You have to be certified, and so we do the certifications. There's also a new wing that just opened up for teenage pregnant girls. They're girls who would be out on the street because their families do not want them. And so we take them in. Obviously, they don't have their education yet. They don't know how to be mothers. So we make sure that they get the prenatal care, the instructions they need, try to help them with their education, get them on a path of employment. And so Good Shepherd. Catholic Family Services is our counseling arm. Again, each of these agencies are separate and we're federated. Catholic Family Services is in 6 different locations, different counties, and provides those services that hopefully help people to maintain their dignity. We also have a contract with a number of schools because of the tax that was passed in the county, and so we're in over 100 grade schools and high schools, some of them public, most of them Catholic. Public schools realize our expertise and our professionalism. They contract with us also. It's a win-win-win situation. We get paid, the council. The The school doesn't have to pay anything, nor do the parents. So it's a powerful program that helps to, stabilize families and helps children just to get over that next step so they can get back into it. They also have a unique little arm in Catholic Family Services, and that is we do translation services. We translate into 40 different languages. It's a federal mandate that if you're in the hospital and English is not your first language, then the hospital has to furnish a translator. And so we translate in all the various hospitals, making sure that doctors, nurses understand what's wrong with the people, and the people understand what the doctors and nurses are saying to them. St. Francis Community Services. These are our folks that are out in the ground in the community, different locations. They're the ones that people come to when they can't meet their utility bills, when they can't complete their rent payments, when they need food, when there's problems in their homes. They come to St. Francis Community Services. Underneath St. Francis Community Services is also some other arms, namely we have what's called Catholic Legal Assistance Ministry. We do pro bono legal work for folks. Everybody's entitled to justice, and so we try to help people to get their just due. Also underneath this is the Catholic Refugee Services. We help to settle refugees that come into St. Louis. And so St. Francis really lives up to its name. It is with the poor that are in the streets. Then the largest agency is Cardinal Ritter Senior Services. It has over 20 different homes, ranging from apartments where people come and go, they got their cars or whatever, to assisted living, and then to 24-hour nursing care, much of which is provided free because people can't afford it. Hopefully we get the Medicare part of it, Medicaid. Those are our 8 organizations underneath the central office, which I'm a part of, trying to be out there to provide quality human services. We also seek to improve their conditions. We have an advocacy department that lobbies in Jefferson City. We also seek to partner with others to help to change conditions and help to make conditions better for those, especially on the margins of society. So I hope that you're proud of your church. Most people don't know what Catholic Charities does. I was a pastor, and I didn't know until I was asked to be on the board. And then I found out. And then a few years later, here I am. I have a job there now. So thank you. Please, if you care to, take a look at our website, see what's going on. We can always use assistance to walk with people who are trying to walk back into their lives. I'm sure if Laura Pennington was here, she'd tell a few stories about Queen of Peace, which is the agency that she's a part of. Queen of Peace is for women with addictions. You have a lot of children there also. And I've had the grace to go out, and they have apartments out in the community. And I got to bless one of the apartment complexes. There was 8 women moving in. And I was walking through the basement with 3 of the women, and I said to one woman, "Do you like it here?" She said, I like it. I love it here. The other woman said, "I've never had a place like this before." The third woman said, "I never thought I'd have a home." I have always had a home. Even when I lived in Africa, I had a nice home. And so that's what Catholic Charities is doing, helping people to feel really, really good about being alive, about being created in the image of God. So as the Lord throws your seed around, please don't tell him where he should throw it, but let it land where he wants it you to.